Okay.
Welcome to Weekly Picks with Danny and Jarek.
Hello.
So first we're going to catch up on the current standings. I'm still in first by one game at 13-7 because we both went 4-1 last week. The Coins at 9-11 didn't do as well. Alright, first matchup. Snowmen versus Haciendas. I'm going to go with the Snowmen and Jarek's going to go with the Haciendas. Now, just looking at this matchup, I think Haciendas have James Conner and Russell Wilson on bye, which have been pretty big parts in their wins recently. And I think now that Devonta Freeman's out, Tevin Coleman has big opportunity to step into a bigger role. And
Shoot, you're right.
Dalvin Cook, I mean, no one really knows. He had maybe one good game, not because he's bad, but he's just never been healthy this season. But I do think wide receivers are starting to shape up, except for Demaryius Thomas, I guess.
Now that I take a closer look here, I probably should have. I'm kind of getting second thoughts here, but my rationale originally is I'm really big on the Marlon Mack train because he was pretty he looked pretty solid in his first showing,
he was
in
really
my opinion.
efficient.
So
I don't know how many carries he's gonna get.
I think they'll have an easier time giving him more carries than Naheem Hines, and I guess I'm just gonna be a big believer in the wide receivers because I think Golden Tate and Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen are all posed to have pretty decent or pretty good weeks this week. So I'm basing it pretty much all off of that.
All right. In our next matchup, we have the Paris Storm against the Flexers, and we're both going to choose the Flexers. No big surprise, even with bye weeks problems, Flexers are still a pretty big powerhouse. Trubisky, he's no Aaron Rodgers, but he did have a pretty good week like 2 weeks ago. And I think the rest of the team can pick up the slack from Juju.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say here. Flexers are unopposed best team in the league. They have three pretty much RB1s, and then they have Adam Thielen, who's the best wide receiver right now. And so yeah, even with the buys, they're not going to have a hard time.
All right, sorry about that. At number 3, we're going to have...
For our third matchup,
Well, that was...
okay.
Technical issues.
We're both going to choose the San Antonio Scorchers. The Shanghai Monkeys very clearly throwing this year away. If you guys look at their starting running backs, they're starting Ito Smith, Philip Lindsay.
I like Ito Smith. Philip Lindsay, not as much.
Yeah, so I mean Ito Smith is just gonna vulture a ton of goal line carries.
It's a rebuilding year.
But actually, I read all these articles about how Josh Gordon is getting a lot closer to Tom Brady, so there is potential here actually for an upset, but the Shanghai Monkeys are still just super terrible, and so there's no reason we should be predicting them at this time.
Next matchup, we're both going to go with the London Legacy over the Beijing Dragons. I used to be a big believer in the Dragons, not as much anymore. They've been struggling a lot recently. They have big running back issues, and now that they've traded away Dalvin Cook a few weeks ago, they don't really have anyone to fall back on either.
Yeah, the Dragons have just been having pretty bad luck this season. Let's see. They don't have none of their running backs really panned out because at one point they had Cook. They used to have Howard.
Yeah.
Now they have Collins. These are like some of the most disappointing guys. If you look on the threads on Reddit, and all the people are disappointed about their season, or Fournette or Collins or Cook owners. So Yeah, despite the having probably the two biggest wide receiver names in Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, their team has been pretty bad. On the other hand, the London Legacy,
They took a pretty big hit with Devontae Freeman going on IR.
but the rest of their team actually is pretty solid. Carlos Hyde, while his time is ticking because they're planning on making Nick Chubb the workhorse eventually, he's still pretty solid, especially against a bad Tampa Bay defense. James White always does well. Mark Ingram does well. DeAndre Hopkins is a great wide receiver for fantasy. So yeah, London Legacy are the good choice here.
Alright, at fifth matchup, we're gonna both choose Tokyo Moose in an upset over the Orlando Boomslings. I just think the Moose's projections are a little deflated for whatever reason. I think they're just the better team.
It's because they project Zach Ertz to score 16.48 points.
Is that far off?
Let's look.
That's actually
it's pretty decent, but I think it's a mixture of that and then because it's kind of based off of I still think it's even for a tight for just for a tight end it's kind of ridiculous.
What's the 72 yards and a touchdown?
Yeah, and then because the Moose are running Benjamin Watson because Jared Cook is on bye. It's just because they're kind of desperate for. They could also maybe start Jack Doyle, but Doyle's also projected a pretty low amount.
And Eric Ebron's.
And Eric Ebron's pretty much taken over for the Colts. But outside for the Boomslangs, their wide receiver core is very solid. They have Melvin Gordon, who has a lot of value, but it's just their other running back position because they don't have anyone outside of Melvin Gordon. So that's where they lack. So I think the Moose will upset them this week.
All right. These are the coins picks. You can't see it. Okay, there it is. I don't know why that technical issues again, but they're going to go with actually the same exact picks as me, so very interesting. All right. Our first, what are we calling these? Pick'em of the week. Who will top the scoreboard this week? The Flexers or anyone else? And despite their bye week problems, I'm going to choose the Flexers. I think their team is too good not to top the scoreboard again. The only team that's projected even close is the Boomslangs, who I think projections are a little overinflated. So I think it's going to be the Flexers.
Let me take a look at projections here real quick. Let me see. I have a lot of pride in my own team, so I want to predict that the Tokyo Moose will actually be the highest scoring team. Let's see here. David Johnson against Denver. I don't know. I know we've been David Johnson's been really disappointing because
they
have no idea
about the Cardinals.
No, what is it?
It's they're 28th in total rushing attempts, so they don't run the ball at all, right? But they're first in rushing attempts straight up the middle. So literally the only way they use David Johnson is running up straight up the middle, which is the one thing he's not top tier. He's okay, but
oh my god, whatever.
Well, so they've been not utilizing him.
Yeah.
Well.
So, while that is true, Denver is a surprisingly terrible defense this year.
Yeah.
And then Sonny Michel has that's not really a good matchup against Chicago, but Alvin Kamara is against Baltimore, whose defense is actually crazy good. So actually, never mind. I don't think it's gonna be me. But let's look at someone else here real quick. Let's think. Okay, the Haciendas are also suffering from bye, so maybe not unless Tyreek Hill again scores 40 points. I think I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, let's see. Maybe the Legacy will be a sleeper high scorer, because
I think the legacy can blow
Yeah.
up this week.
I was talking about earlier how like the legacy have been were a top 3 scorer for that many times in a row. So
Ever since they've never been a top 3 scorer.
oh yeah, I kind of cursed them. So well that's my bad. But I actually kind of like the outlook on their team right now. But maybe Keelan Cole, I'm not too high on. Maybe if they start Marquise Goodwin instead, I think that team is actually poised to have a surprisingly big week and may just overtake the Flexers at scoring.
All right, so I'm going with the Flexers. He's going with
I'm going
anyone else.
Anyone else?
All right, Haciendas, speedy rise, or just a fluke? And I don't know what to say for this one. I think they're good, but they're not they're not gonna compete for the top seeds. They're gonna definitely be like 4th, 5th, 6th seed in playoffs, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think they're better than their record advertises. Just a bit better. They should probably be like 4-2.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. So their running back situation is not the greatest.
This is kind of a preview for what the team would look like if Bell came back and they didn't have Connor anymore.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And that's always like a ticking time bomb. Like I'm sure they're always thinking about that. So
wait, how? Oh wait, never mind. I thought it was Connor that was projected 2.01.
So yeah, if they can do good this week, that would show that they can still do good without Connor, which would definitely boost my confidence in this team. So it really rests on this week. For now, I'm going to go with just a fluke because I don't know how this team is without Connor, but definitely could be on the rise.
Let me just look at last week's results just to
Yeah.
turn here. So he had a decent. So a lot of his
James Conner.
Yeah,
Tyreek
James
Hill.
Conner carried a lot of his total value last week with a pretty depressing games from Keenan Allen and Stephon Diggs. So
and Tyreek Hill's not going to score 35 every week.
Yeah, that is true. So I think for now it's too early to say that they're on the rise and that they're back because their win last week just wasn't that believable. Yeah. So we have to give it a week before saying
I'm not
anything.
definitively saying either side, but just a fluke is definitely more likely.
Yep.
All right, let's see what the last slide is. Better trader, Eric or Dennis's sister? This is a tough one.
Yeah, this is a pretty tough one. So we all know Eric, the owner of the Shanghai Monkeys, has been pretty proactive in their trading.
Yeah, definitely been racking up a lot of first round picks, second round picks, just picks in general. Trying to get rookies or like sophomore players, like young guys. They're really trying to build a dynasty later on, but obviously not gonna be doing very well this season.
I have some questions about their strategy because from what I've heard, the college class this year is not as inspiring as it might have been last year.
It's also very wide receiver heavy.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure about what their strategy is after they traded away 3 picks for Saquon Barkley. I don't have too much faith in their strategy, but on the other hand, we have Dennis's sister. So, in case you were wondering what the meaning behind this is, recently there was a controversy about when the Shanghai Monkeys tried to trade Austin Eckler
for a second round.
For a second round pick to the Orlando Boom.
I thought it was a good trade actually for the Boom Slings.
I thought it was. I mean, it's always good to have the backup. So actually,
I know, and I think Eckler has standalone value. Like, you can plug him in not as your RB2. Like, he's never gonna be that, but he has like flex value. I think.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with that. He has pretty decent flex value.
Like, he has standalone value, and he's the handcuff. Like, he's gonna be an RB1. He's Melvin Gordon.
He's been at an almost consistent 11 to 12 points. So
yeah, so like, for a second rounder, like, I don't actually think you can go into the second round of a rookie draft and find someone who's gonna score like this.
That's a really good point. But at the same time though, like, you also have to because not only is he in the handcuff, but if Melvin Gordon tears his ACL again or something
he's an RB1.
Yeah, Dennis would be set with an RB1. So I think actually Dennis's sister might have
made a really good trade.
They might have been onto something there, but oh well, I guess we'll never know.
So on this one, we're both gonna go with Dennis's sister. And that's going to be it for Weekly Picks with Danny and Jarek. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.